Is this thing on? Right, welcome to Saki, Endo, Rubbish Heap. Off to a good start as usual. I'm Saki, and on this channel I'm going to review mostly retro games from Japan. Sometimes more than stuff in Euros from outside of Japan too. The mostly I want to review games from the point of view of whether you can enjoy these games, either if you have no intention of learning Japanese, or you're somewhere on a journey of learning the language. That said, there's a bunch of games that have always no coverage in English on YouTube, the so-called hidden gems. But it'd be cool to review those games, so they're still interesting or even good. Send it out for those. And where are those games coming from? That's the Rubbish Heap, and I decided to present your channel right in front of it, like all the other famous gaming YouTube channels. But there's no way that you'll dare to look inside the Rubbish Heap. That's off limits, pal. From time to time on this channel, I'll be joined by my good buddies Hisao and Kaito, but they're both having a lad's holiday in Okinawa right now. They sent me a letter with this photo the other day. I won't read it, but they mostly just told me I was missing out on a massive hangover. Doesn't sound that great to me. And also it said that Kaito managed to get stung by a jellyfish, mistaking it for a plastic bag. Baka. In this first short video, I want to explain how the reviews will work. Right off the bat, the reviews on this channel will mostly focus on retro games, but sometimes I'll cover modern stuff as well. So if you like the Super Famicom, PT Engine, Sega Saturn and PlayStation 2, I've got a right load of rad stuff to show you from the Rubbish Heap. All of the videos on this channel are aimed to be short and snappy, aiming for about 4 minutes runtime. If I'm covering a well-documented game such as, say, Super Donkey Kong or Final Fantasy VI, the review of the game will be rather brief rather than the full in-depth look into the game and its mechanics for most of the reviews. But I'll always have a summary of the game and whether it's any good or not. And for the games that don't have much coverage on YouTube, the lesser-known Japanese releases, I'll be sure to give you the full lowdown. The games are rated out of 5 stars, 5 stars meaning an all-time great, 3 being good, and 1 being poor. The other focus for the reviews will be an overview of what level of Japanese is required to play the game. It will not affect the game's score. For example, a game that requires a high level of Japanese will never be graded lower. A good game will always be a good game. That said, an average game may be really helpful if you're learning Japanese, and so I might give it a bit more praise than most would because it's helpful to your study. To help grade the Japanese level, I have created a really rad rating system: none, basic, conversational, and fluent. These are described in full from a link in the video description, but in summary, here's what each of those 4 grades mean. None means the game is either all in English or the interface is so shallow that you have no Japanese to really navigate to enjoy the game. An example of a game in this category would be Mario and Wario for the Super Famicom. Beginner level is for someone who can read hiragana and katakana, and this will help you navigate a deeper nest of menus and options in the game. Frequently, games in this category use English loanwords, but will render the text in hiragana or katakana scripts. Of course, with no Japanese understanding, you can still enjoy this level of game, but navigation at first will be a bit of trial and error if I'm honest. This level may also benefit from some basic Japanese knowledge to answer questions like yes and no, save, and continue, for example. An example of a game in this category would be Pokemon Panepon for the Game Boy. Conversational is the 3rd grade and a big jump up. This refers to someone who can understand both casual and polite Japanese, has some knowledge of dialect, especially Kansai dialect, and has approximately reached the JLPT N3 level with understanding of kanji somewhere around the Kyoiku kanji. That's approximately the first 1,000 kanji of the Joyo kanji. If you can read some manga and the NHK News Easy website, you're about this level. An example of a game in this category would be, say, Seiken Densetsu, the first mana game for the Game Boy, or for slightly more advanced conversational speakers or learners of Japanese, Tokimeki Memorial. Finally, the 4th and highest level of Japanese will be the so-called fluent level. This is somebody who understands the majority of the Joyo kanji and has reached at least JLPT N2 level. This requires understanding of everything at conversational level, plus understanding Japanese turns of phrase, slang, dialect, and sometimes specialized language, and a high degree of knowledge of Japanese grammar. If you can read a Japanese magazine or newspaper without too much trouble, this is your level. An example of a game in this category would be something like Chrono Trigger for the Super Famicom. My reviews will also rate the readability of the text on screen. Is the Japanese legible, or is the script hard to read because you'll be squinting at a teeny tiny font that's badly spaced out and moves on at the speed of the Shinkansen, or Kaito's bows after a Koko Ichiban Karakuchi level 5 curry? Oh my god, the last time we went there, you went into the toilet and then when he came out, his face, he came out. That kid can't handle his curry. Oh dear. I'll tell you a story about it one day. Anyway, I'll also note whether the script in the game is written in English, Romaji, Hiragana, Katakana, and or Kanji. And finally, does the game have furigana to help you with reading the kanji? And that's how the reviews will work. Between the single game reviews, I'll also be putting up videos to help give you advice on how to play games in Japanese with various techniques that will help you learn grammar, words, and the overall meaning of what you're seeing in games, as well as special episodes from time to time that may cover unusual non-Japanese games or other topics related to gaming and retro gaming. That's about it for this introduction. Join me here again for some game reviews and other bits linked to gaming in Japan from time to time. And I hope you enjoyed the video from the Rubbish Heap. Like, subscribe, and all that kind of shit. And you can even get some really rad Rubbish Heap t-shirts that I've designed from the links in the video description. They're pretty cool and I'm going to be adding to them from time to time, so go and check them out. The first game I'll be reviewing is a Pokemon game that has a hidden secret on the Game Boy, so make sure you don't miss that. This has been Saki Endo, and this has been the Rubbish Heap. Ja ne ne!